All right, well, a good Monday evening to you. Hope you had a nice weekend. We are back at it this week, and active weather does continue. Now, last week we had some heat and humidity to deal with, and this week is going to be a more comfortable one, but we are starting it out with the potential for some showers and storms. Severe weather outlook, we'll put it in the moderate category, but not anticipating much in the way of traditional severe weather. Instead, it's the heavy rainfall that has us concerned, as we could be looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain. Generally from Green Bay and Shawano southward is where the highest totals should come, and there will be the possibility for some localized flooding. Some of the stronger storms perhaps do create some gusty winds, small hail. That's not out of the question, but in general, this looks like it would be mostly a heavy rain event, with the severe weather likely missing us just to the south. So here is the latest First Alert Viper Max imagery, and you can see the next batch of heavier, steadier rainfall is already pushed through Shawano County into central Outagamie at this point, back into Wapaka and Portage County with Stevens Point. So we're just starting to get into some of the heavier rainfall, the more widespread rainfall that will be expected to move into the area later on tonight. We'll go ahead and just put this into motion for a quick minute just to show you everything. It's pretty much tracking from west to east. Now, eventually, we should see some of the showers that are into northern parts of the state start to push a little farther to the south. But in general, this is going to be mostly a rain event. Now, we do have some thunderstorms, in fact, some stronger thunderstorms ongoing well to our south. And this is going to be the area where we likely see our bigger threat for severe weather is going to be down into parts of southeastern Minnesota, eventually moving into southwestern Wisconsin, and then into northern Illinois. So the white outlines here, those would be severe thunderstorm warnings, and then the flashing red box, that is a tornado warning. The reason it doesn't look as well defined here is because we're using the Green Bay radar and not a radar that's a little closer to those storms. But 550 lightning strikes in a 5-minute period with that weather, but you will note how quickly things drop off to the north. Once you get north of Winona there in extreme southeastern Minnesota, there's not much storm activity to be had in Wisconsin, and I would expect that we continue with those strongest of the storms sliding just towards the southwest of our viewing area here later on tonight. So we'll keep a close eye on it for you, but again, anticipating that we won't see the traditional severe weather threat really be materialized in our area. You can see those storms are essentially tracking off towards the south and the east, and that's the way that the watch boxes are aligned. So the tornado watch extends into southwestern Wisconsin, and then those storms likely continue on more of a southerly track. Now, if they maintain their intensity, we could see some additional watches, or we could see this tornado watch here get extended farther south, but I would not expect that we would see that even as far north as, say, Fond du Lac. It looks like it would mostly be Madison, Milwaukee, and then farther south of those areas. Mike, I would say better odds for anything like that would be to our south. You can already see we're starting to get a little storm cluster organized here. We are certainly looking at the heavy rainfall potential out of this system, but I think that we stay just to the north of anything severe. So we'll, as I said, we'll monitor things through the evening and keep an eye on it. But for right now, I would still expect that the rough weather really builds to our south. Our main concern here is going to be for the possibility for some localized flooding. So heading on through the night, that's again what we would expect, and kind of bear that out here in the severe weather outlook risk graphic that I've got, and you'll notice that I put hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in the low to upgrade category. Again, if things start building a little farther north, but it doesn't seem too likely given where everything is fired up now and how it's tracking, heavy rainfall is going to be my main concern. The Storm Prediction Center has drawn their outlook basically lined up with where you saw those storms. Let me see if I can find the day one. I've got the day two outlook graphic in here. It's day three. Let me go ahead and drag in the day one severe weather outlook into the show here and just show you where the Storm Prediction Center drew it out. And I can't really find any fault in this given where they placed it. You see that slight risk for severe weather, again lining up right where those storms are forming and where they are expected to track. And then you see just the southern tier of our Fox Cities counties, southern Winnebago, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, included in the marginal risk for severe weather level 1 out of 5. In fact, this update, I would say they actually trimmed a little bit off of that marginal risk. I think it was a little farther to the north with the earlier update before. It usually updates, I think, around 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock Central. I can't remember the specific time, but it does get an update in the evening. And this runs through 12Z, which would be 7 o'clock in the morning is when the outlooks run. So day one outlook is from 7 a.m. today through 7 a.m. tomorrow, and then the day two outlook picks up at 7 a.m. So storms will continue tracking likely to our south overnight tonight, but we are going to be watching for that heavy rainfall threat and some localized flooding. So let's get into it here with First Alert Pinpoint Predictor, and you'll see lining up pretty well with where the radar was with that heaviest rain kind of just west of the Fox cities right now. As we get into that 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. time frame, that's when we see those heavier rain showers right over the Fox cities. Likely that things do start to wind down a little bit across our northern areas, and then we would be anticipating everything kind of wrapping up at some point during the pre-dawn hours of Tuesday. So 4, 5, 6 a.m., most of the rainfall is going to be coming to an end. Might start the morning out with some cloud cover around the Fox cities, but here we are by the lunch hour, mostly sunny, and should be on our way to a pretty decent day. A little bit on the breezy side, perhaps, with winds out of the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour sustained, gusts between 20 and 25. So, perhaps it is a little on the breezy side, but that's really about the only complaint that I could see coming for tomorrow, unless you just really love the hot and muggy weather, because we will see some consistently less humid conditions behind this system and temperatures that will be a little closer to average, maybe even a little bit below average for this time of year. So our normal low would be 60 degrees, and that's about where we should be around the Fox cities tonight. Northern areas will be a little cooler with some lower 50s. Looking ahead at tomorrow afternoon, mid-70s is what you would expect for the most part, so about 5 degrees or so below average there. In terms of the humidity, it's not going to be too bad tomorrow, and really this will remain the case for the rest of the week. We have dew points that are likely to sit in the upper half of the 50s, so not too bad. Anytime you're above 60, you start to notice the humidity, and last week at times we were in the 70s, and that is just very sticky air, but that's not what we're looking at for tomorrow, and throughout the extended, we keep that dew point largely between 55 and 60 degrees, so not too bad there. Let's go ahead and show you real quick some rain totals. Let me, 72 hours, let's just find this one right here. These are the totals from the National Weather Service, so lines up again with kind of what we're talking about, a widespread 1 to 2 inch rainfall through central and eastern Wisconsin. There is obviously, whenever you get some storms moving through, the potential for some locally higher totals. So we've been kind of saying 1 to 3 inches around the Fox Valley, but notice those northern areas, there will be a pretty sharp drop-off where you don't expect to see a whole lot more rainfall up that way through the night. So we will keep an eye on any flooding reports that may come in. I guess the good news in all of this is that the heaviest rainfall coming when most folks are not on the roads. It's going to be an overnight event with everything kind of clearing out by sunrise tomorrow. So all in all, we will see the possibility for some standing water in low-lying areas, and there might even be some ponding of water on roadways as well for a time, but I would expect that most of those problems will be sorted out by the time that the majority of folks are taking to the roads. We should have several hours of dry time in between now and the trailing edge of the heavier rainfall and when our regular morning commute takes place. So when you look at the extended here, after tonight's chance for rain wraps up early Tuesday morning, Wednesday a quiet day, and maybe just a spotty shower here or there Thursday and Friday. So the pattern certainly does start to look a little quieter this week as compared to previous ones, and temperatures will be near normal or slightly below average, mid-70s to around 80 degrees for most days, and we'll have most of our nights in the 50s, which again, like the afternoon, is slightly below average. I'll go back through the comments feed, see if there's any comment that I did not address on here, and of course you can head over to my Facebook page. That's David Ernst, WBAY meteorologist, and follow me there, and certainly you can ask questions in that forum, whether it's through direct message or right on the page. With this, I suppose I will go ahead and wrap it up. We've got Action 2 News coming your way in about 30 minutes. Hope to see you then.